Welcome to the Build Your Coaching Business Around the 9 to 5 podcast. I'm your coach, Pamella Pritchard, and I help you go from employee to business owner. Whether you're creating your first client or learning how to create clients on repeat whilst holding down your day job, I'll help you make your business dreams a reality. Let's begin. Hey coaches, it's Pamella and I'm back for another episode of the Build Your Coaching Business Around the 9 to 5 podcast. I am today doing an episode on what to do when it still isn't working, when you're still not signing clients. And this came about because inside my Facebook group, Corporate to Coach, I asked my members what they need to hear most. And this was what got the votes, with 60% of the votes, if I recall correctly. So I have done a full breakdown of what you need to do to cross-check, cross-reference when you are sat there feeling that frustration that you still haven't signed clients. And that might be because you've never signed clients, or it might be because you're going through a lull. And that time frame could be anything. And that's the first point. I want you to remember that we are in this for the long game. We are looking at a long time horizon here. So sometimes it is as simple as remembering that the time horizon is bigger than we are giving ourselves grace for. What that means is we think we should be signing clients like every single hour of every single day. And in reality, you're probably only really looking for 3 or 4 clients per month if you're selling high ticket one-to-one coaching, which is what I support my clients to achieve. So when you actually think about it, when you think about how frequently you actually have somebody saying yes and making a payment, that is literally happening just a couple of days out of the month. So when you consider that over the course of a year, assuming every single person that you signs on a separate day of the year, and you're only looking to sign maybe 10 to 30 clients max, you are literally looking at 30 days across 365 days of a year where you're even signing clients. So sometimes you just need to give ourselves a little bit more grace, a little bit more love, a little bit more softness when it comes to looking at the long-term, bigger picture time horizon. Drop me a DM if this immediately solved the problem. Because sometimes we just need to remember that we are really in this for the long game, that we're not trying to get rich quick, that of course we're not closing off the doors to that possibility. But the reason we even started this was nothing to do with making fast cash. This was because we're following our purpose, because purpose is a heavy word. If you're not sure if this is what this is, you're following a deep desire, an interest, a passion for doing this beautiful work called coaching that we get to do. And so sometimes we just need to take the pressure off, calm down, remind ourselves that we're on a long journey. And if we start playing the are we there yet game, it gets tiresome very, very quickly. So we want to notice that. And if you do think you're playing the are we there yet game, that's really hard to say. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? It reminds me of being a kid in the backseat of the car. Are we there? Oh my gosh. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? And maybe this is actually something to do with the inner child within you that wants to have instant gratification, that just wants to play with her toys right now. Completely understandable. And when you realize that it is your inner child that is kind of overriding, and maybe that's mixing in with a little bit of shadow, a little bit of ego, that's starting to construct stories around this, starting to make it mean something about yourself. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, is this ever going to happen for me? Oh, maybe I'm not worthy after all. Oh, maybe I haven't done enough. Maybe I need to do another certification. Maybe this, maybe that. And you're starting to construct stories. Then remember who's in the driver's seat: the adult. Every single time, the adult, not the kid, not the ego, not the teenager, you as the woman or man that you are today. So remember that and give yourself grace and love. If it is the inner child or the ego that is kind of playing the "Are we there yet" game because you just want to remind it it's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to have that desire. It's a reminder that you want it. That's never a bad thing. But we don't want to turn that want, that pure desire, into something that becomes dirty because we don't need to do that to ourselves. It's unnecessary. If this is a beautiful concept, but you're also thinking, okay, how do I do this? Frankly, I can't do it on a podcast. It wouldn't be right to do that level of work with you on a podcast. This deserves one-on-one attention. This deserves you actually having someone to guide you through it. So obviously, it would be a disservice of me not to say I absolutely do one-to-one. And this is the kind of work that I do with my clients. It's that beautiful mix of figuring out the what is going on here and figuring out the answer to why you're still not signing clients whilst holding the energetics, whether that's in a child, whether that's shadow work, whether that's reminding you of your personal time horizon. So if that appeals to you, then drop me a DM and we'll schedule a consult and we can talk about that ASAP. That being said, there is a really specific process that I take my clients through when this kind of energy is coming up. And if everything I've spoke about doesn't immediately address it. So let's dive into what that is. I always describe to my clients whenever we are feeling frustration in our business, whenever we're feeling that, are we there yet? And you want it, and you know you're ready for clients, you're ready to get paid as a life coach. You've got big goals, you've got big dreams, you want to replace your corporate salary this year, you want to be your own boss, you know that you're meant for this. It calls to you, and you just can't help but love the work. You love personal development, you love spirituality, and you find yourself in that frustration bubble of are we there yet? You're looking at your 9 to 5, feeling the frustration, feeling that you don't belong there anymore, but it's giving you that financial security that you just don't have yet in your business. You're in the right place. I've got you. And when my clients come to me with this, because even when we are doing all the most beautiful business building things and everything is going well, it's very natural, it's very human to have these moments of frustration, of wanting the gratification right now. And it is a common concept in entrepreneurship to be able to deny ourselves instant gratification for the long game, for that long-term horizon. But the process I take my clients through is very, very simple. I'm going to share it with you right here. You can troubleshoot your business yourself. This is this is a skill. This is a skill I'm about to teach you. So if you are in a position to write this down, or in fact, if you want the PDF on this, where I break this down into a really simple 2 part process, with the first part being 4 steps and the second part being 5 steps, then this seriously could really help you pinpoint exactly what needs to be tweaked, focused, prioritized, given some intentionality, given some love, so that you can stay on the path and know that you're doing the right things and that you are actually putting your energy and effort in the right place. So if you want that PDF, drop me a DM either on Facebook or on Instagram. You can find me at Coaching with Pamella. And I want you to share the word, and I'm literally making this up because I have just decided this second as I'm speaking to you that this is 100% what needs to be, what I'm happy to give you as a complementary part of this training, because there's nothing like seeing it in writing. What takes me 2 seconds can literally save you months. So DM me saying power, because this is about you taking your power back. Because when you're in the energy of it, oh, it still isn't working, you're giving your power away. And I am all about you being in your power, being a coach who knows what she wants, being a woman who knows what she wants and damn well goes for it. And you've gone for it, you've started. Now, let's see it through. Let's see it through on this beautiful journey of becoming, because it's possible for you. I know that to be true. So, part one, more importantly than anything that you can possibly do in your business is to check yourself first. As I always say, be onto yourself. And I mean that every time I say it. I say it with a bit of sass, be onto yourself, right? It is a bit sassy, but I actually mean it with the utmost self respect, self love, self consideration. It is the epitome of putting yourself first. It's the epitome of knowing that when you fill your cup up first, that is when you can give from the overflow. It's the premise of the abundance marketing method that I'm teaching everybody inside Messaging Mastery. It's the premise of how you become the soulful CEO that I teach in your next paid client. It's the premise of building a thriving coaching business, which is the underwriting philosophy of everything I give my one-to-one clients inside Thrive. It is about you being in your power, being a woman who knows that when you look after yourself first, when you are fully in your power, when you fill your own cup, then anything that you create is coming from a place of completeness, from already being whole, from already being enough. This is everything. Because if you're trying to create anything to fill a half empty cup, then you're always creating from scarcity. Look at this for a visual if you're watching this on YouTube right now. I have my glass of water. If your cup isn't full, anything you create is trying to fill this void first before it does anything to give and spill over into other people. Imagine this to the brim. This is this is your love. This is your self-respect. This is your power. And you can have it full all the time. Because when then it overspills, it's like a cold shower in the tropics. And ask me how I know how good that feels. Because it is hot up in here where I'm living these days. And a cold shower is heaven on earth. Multiple times a day, every day. You deserve that overspill. Now, if you're someone that runs a mile from a cold shower, then imagine being in a beautiful hot bath. When you step into it and you sink into it, it overspills and it's not a problem because the bathroom is designed to take the overspill, and you lie there completely like up to your neck, just absolutely engulfed in the most gorgeous warm hug that you've needed all day, that just relieves you of all your stress. That is you in your power. That is what being in your power can feel like. When you get to give from that place, it's such a beautiful place. So, part one is you. Have your needs been met recently? So, let's break that down. And if you're tempted here to skip to the business part, you're like, yeah, this is all very cute and fluffy, like hot baths, cold shower, whatever. Like, this sounds like a lot of airy fairy. Then you probably need it the most. Because if you're the type of person that is often in a very high performing environment where you've always succeeded in your career by doing more, giving more, and and hustling, grinding, working to your max, and not necessarily being great at looking after yourself, then this isn't a matter of doing more in your business. This is actually has to start with you being in your power, being a person of self respect who knows that you filling your own cup first is the way that you do it. So let's dive into the four parts of this, because I don't want you to think it is literally just bubble baths and cold showers in the tropics. The four parts: physiological, circumstantial, emotional, and purpose. I'll repeat that: physiological, circumstantial, emotional, and purpose. So this is how I like to think about it. Physiological is it's have you had enough to drink today? Literally. She says as she has a drink. Literally, have you eaten enough? Have you been looking after yourself? Are you sleeping well? Is your general health okay? And I'm serious about this. Like, I jest about the water and drinking and eating, but honestly, if you're literally not looking after your physical body, your physiology is desperate for you to be fully energized with nourishing food. but you continue to eat crap food from the fast food bar on your lunch break at the 9 to 5 because you're not taking time to take a lunch break and have proper boundaries in place, that is going to have a knock on effect because by the time you get to work on your business at 7 o'clock, when you get home from work, fed the kids, cooked dinner, and you finally get 2 hours to yourself, you're depleted. You have no energy left because you haven't been nourishing yourself, because you haven't had those boundaries. And then that has a knock on effect because what should be taking you an hour or two is suddenly becoming 3, 4 hours. You're losing yourself again in your business. You're getting a bad night's sleep because you're going to bed wired because you haven't had any downtime, because you've been so, bless you, dedicated on your business because you're such a high performing, high achieving, if I do more, then I'll get more type of personality that has served you this far. That employee mindset that has been conditioned in you by no fault of your own, then yeah, physiologically, you need to start addressing your needs first. Are you looking after yourself? And if you are physically going through an episode of mental health, of depression, of anxiety at the moment, for whatever reasons they may be, then are you giving yourself the grace to take time out and look after yourself? To get yourself back to a place where you can abundantly and confidently say, yeah, you know what? I've actually got capacity now. But if you genuinely have been in a bit of a survival mode, are you actually giving your body, your physiology, your nervous system the time to recover? Because as I always say, rest is essential to effective business building. But if you are taking rest after you need it, then it isn't rest, it becomes recovery. And if you are onto yourself and you can recognize that you are actually in a period of recovery, of physiological, whether that's mental or physical recovery right now, then give yourself the grace to have that recovery time. So that is number one. And that is a boss move. I just want to put it out there. If you are like, oh, fuck, that's me, that's literally my circumstances right now, then that is a boss move to be able to say, you know what, the best thing I can do for my business, my future, my clients, like whatever, is to look after me. That is everything. That makes you a better coach for your clients because they will come to you with this too. Just as my clients have come to me with this, and it's never, ever a problem. Nothing has gone wrong. It is just something that happens to human bodies and human brains. Sometimes we go through these periods of like physical injury, mental health, or just periods of bad sleep, or you get the flu, or you break a leg, or you have an episode of depression, or your body just needs to shut down because you've been overworking and it physically like you need to recover. It's okay. This happens. It happens to the best of us. So let yourself be where you are and look after your physiological needs. Like, let's go back to like the old Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like, this is the baseline. If we do not exist, then the business cannot exist, especially at these early days of the business. The business can only go at the pace that we are going. If we need to slow down, so be it. Número dos, number two, circumstantial. So this obviously can affect your physiological state, but things like, and this is something that I have been through quite a lot recently, things like moving home. As you may know, I'm a digital nomad now. That actually is a big shakeup on your nervous system every time you're moving. I don't have stability in terms of a stable home that I stay at for longer than anything from 3 weeks to 6 months. So I'm always moving more frequently, probably 6 weeks at a time. I'm always moving. That does something to your nervous system. Even if I enjoy it consciously, subconsciously, my body's probably a little bit like, girl, you need to chill out a little bit. And that is something that I've had to acknowledge that circumstantially does have a bit of an impact. And the more that I've acknowledged that reality, the more I have been able to move through it. So if you're moving home, maybe in your 9 to 5, there are circumstantial events that are happening outside of your control that are having an impact on you. Maybe they're going through a round of redundancies, a restructure, a new boss. Maybe your BFF at work has left or got promoted. Maybe there was a round of promotions and you didn't get one. Maybe you did get a promotion and you changed job, or your job role has changed slightly and you're normalizing to a new circumstance. You're normalizing to a new way of being. Maybe you've recently left your 9 to 5 and you thought you were going to have all the time in the world. And what's happened is that your body has gone, oh my God, I didn't even realize the amount of physiological needs. See, we go back to the first one here. I didn't even realize the amount of physiological needs that weren't being met. I now have time to recover. And lo and behold, you've quit your job. You finally have all the time in the world. You're expecting to have all the energy in the world. And you've been knocked for six because your nervous system has finally got a breath of fresh air to catch up with you. Totally normal. If nobody told you about this, I'm so happy I'm telling you this now. Lots of my clients who work with me who left the 9 to 5 didn't necessarily factor in the physiological recovery from having been in employment for so long. This was something that I should probably do an entire episode on, because when I left my corporate career, I had a period of recovery from being in a corporate environment for so long. That is normal. It means your nervous system is normalizing to a new way of being, a new identity. That's an entire shift in and of itself. So, circumstantially, if things are happening in your 9 to 5, you're moving home, maybe a pandemic hits, maybe a war hits in your home country, maybe there is news events that you're particularly plugged into. I know when George Floyd got murdered, that caused extreme emotional distress for me and my loved ones. That required my time, energy, and attention. And there have been numerous world events that have impacted us, that have an influence, that are real, that are happening, that do demand our time and attention. So, circumstantially, things can happen. So, if that is your reality right now, give yourself grace, give yourself compassion, acknowledge that that could be why you're not signing clients right now, because you have slightly uh, more, not more important, but you have other important priorities that are taking your time and energy and attention. And with all of these things, even when the circumstances are very real, they are happening, there is still an element of personal power that you always have. Now, obviously, there are nuances here. Like if a war has broken out in your country, in your city, then you need to address that. You physically need shelter and safety. You need to leave the country. I'm not going to expect you to be signing clients in that moment. Let's be really honest. And I say this, notice if you are, if this doesn't make sense, or you can't even comprehend that this is even something I'm sharing, know the privilege of that. Because the reality is that there are people in this world right now whose reality is what I'm describing. It is a privilege if you are sat in your home right now or on your commute or going for a walk, realizing that this isn't your reality. Acknowledge the privilege of that. But it doesn't denote from the importance of anything else that is your reality. And with all of these things, obviously, once our immediate safety and our immediate shelter and our immediate physiological safety and physical safety is dealt with, then yeah, we do get to be aware of the amount of personal power that we have and remind ourselves of our personal power. Redundancy going on at work, fair enough. But have you also been saying that you want to leave your job for the last 6 months? So why is it a problem? This is an opportunity. This is a good thing. There's a lot of personal power that you can take back from that. So notice the stories that you're telling and what you're making it mean without bypassing very real needs that you may have to address. So, number three is that personal power. It is the emotional and the mindset and the energetic. It's the frequency of which you are experiencing these experiences. This goes to belief work. This goes to your identity work. This goes to your habits, behaviors, your patterns, and your boundaries. So, if you're in a place where actually your physiological needs are met, Your circumstantial needs are actually, there's no drama really happening, nothing really noteworthy. Is it that there are beliefs that need to be addressed? Are you still in this realm of I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough? And I say that with the utmost compassion and empathy because I know what it is to be there. That was the beginning of my journey, overcoming my belief, my identity that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't worthy of the things that I desired. It is very real in the moments that you are experiencing it. And it doesn't matter what you do in your business, if these things are still catching you in a very visceral way that actively stops you from making decisions, actively stops you from saying what you want to say, is stopping you from selling, is stopping you from doing the things, then it has to be addressed. Because it doesn't matter then what success, what money, what clients you may or may not create. If this is your identity, then it will never be enough. You will always be questioning your worth. You will always be wondering. And I want you to know that when you start to see the tangible results of this beautiful thing that you're creating, I want you to be in a place of such self love, self respect, self worth, and enoughness that you don't for a second question that you deserve to have it and that you deserve to keep it. And I'll be honest, the belief work is always happening at deeper and deeper and deeper levels. The higher we go, the deeper we need to go. The higher we grow, the deeper we need to go when it comes to our belief work and our identity work. So the truth is that kind of work never really ends. There is no end goal. There is no arrival with this journey of self-actualization, going back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It is it is a place where we are always meeting our own limitlessness because that is the human experience, and the human experience is a limited experience, but we are not humans. We are souls having a human experience, which is why the depth of our growth, of our belief, our identities are limitless. So that's a good thing. But if you are in that phase of really believe, like having the thoughts that you are not enough, that you question constantly, is it good enough? Can I do this? Who am I to do this? What if it goes wrong? What if they judge me? What if they don't accept me? If there's deep fears of abandonment, of not belonging, of shame, then bring this to coaching. You deserve to work through it. And that is the power of a one-to-one coach. So then number 4 is, and this is an important one. And again, this is all before we even get to the business stuff, like the strategy, the tactical stuff. So stay with me here. Number 4, the final one of you and your personal power, is to check in with your purpose. Now, purpose is a journey. It isn't a destination. Whatever you decide is correct for you right now could change tomorrow. And that's okay. If tomorrow your new decision is true to you in that moment, purpose is a continuous becoming, it is a journey, it is a continuous decision. And therefore, if it's a decision, it's a continuous opportunity to check in with yourself and ask yourself, is this still who I am? Is this still what I want? And you have the prerogative in this one precious life to make that decision as many times as you need, even if it has the perception that you haven't seen something to the end, or you haven't finished it or seen it all the way through. If you need to change your mind, that's what you've got to do. You've got to gift yourself the permission to allow yourself to experience the journey, because purpose is a journey. So, what does that look like from a business perspective? I'm curious, whatever niche that you've chosen, whatever offer you're selling, whatever price you're selling it at, is that even exciting to you anymore? Is it in alignment with you? Is it even correct for where you are in your journey? Is it something that you actually want to be doing? It shocks me how many clients come to me and they say, well, I worked with a business coach once. They told me I had to have pillars. They told me that I had to have strategy. They told me that I had to choose a niche, that I had to have an ideal client. And look, it isn't that these things don't have value, because they do, but there is a way to teach them. There is a way to make decisions about your business and about what you want to be doing. And the only way to do that is to check that it's in constant alignment with you in this moment. And there is something to be said, of course, with making a decision and giving it enough time to work and being committed enough that you see it through. So that it comes back to that a very original point where I said about the time horizon. So let's just say you've made a decision recently, and if you actually look at the time frame, even though time is technically an illusion, but if you look at the time frame and you say, oh, I only actually decided this price in December. That was only just over 3 months ago at the time of this recording, because it's the end of March. Think about that for a second. 3 months is a drop in the ocean to give something a chance to work, especially if you're new to this. Because you're also still developing your skill as a business owner. You're still developing your muscle of marketing and selling and talking about your offers, of meeting people, of telling them how that they can work with you. So if you've made a recent decision and you think, oh God, I'm still not making clients from this, and you're doubting yourself, then check first of all, was it really a decision that was coming from a truly empowered place of divine inspiration, of true creative power that wasn't influenced by forces that were telling you to do certain things, but they were actually like, it's something that just wants to come alive in you. If you cannot hand on your heart say, I know I want to do this business, and I want to do it in the way that I'm trying to do it. I want to do it on Instagram. I want to create clients in this way. I want to talk about this specific niche. I want to sell it at this price. And not from a want as in, oh, I know I should be worth 3K or 5K. So that's what I'm going to sell my one-to-one for, even though that feels shit scary to you and you can't even bring yourself to say it in a story or in an email. But in a place of, oh my God, I can't not do this work. It just comes alive. Like if I'm at like having a coffee with a girlfriend, we end up talking about this because I'm so passionate about it. I know this is what I'm talking about. I know this is where I'm meant to be. And I see it everywhere. There's people all around me that need this help. And I know with my skills, my wisdom, my experience, everything that's got me to where I am today, that this needs to be shared with the world. That's how it feels. That's how I feel about helping coaches build their coaching business around the 9 to 5, even 3 years on from leaving my corporate career, because I remember it like it was yesterday. I know what it is to sit in that office feeling like you should be doing something else, that you should be able to just work on your business. I know what it feels like to be so empowered, so inspired, so ready by this work, to know that, oh my God, how is it that people aren't interested in personal development? And I love and respect them if they do, but those who do, oh my God, come and have a conversation with me, because I could sit here over a coffee with you for 3 hours, not finish my coffee, and still have a million things that I wish we could say, because I'm so passionate about spirituality and personal development and self growth. That's how it feels for me. If that's how it feels for you, for whatever it is that you want to talk about, and if you don't know what it is, but you know it's something to do with personal development, you know it's just helping people with all the things. And most of my clients that come to me are general life coaches, because they couldn't possibly say it was just one thing. It's all the things. They have so many aspects to their life that brought them here. They want to talk about all of it, and they know that they can help people. That is a sign that you are in your purpose and fulfillment. But if you're not, and you're hearing this and you're thinking, I am so far from that, and I'm flogging a dead horse, and I'm pushing and pushing and pushing, and I'm trying to make this work, then it's a sign to really evaluate. Maybe the reason you're not signing clients is because you're not doing the work that actually wants to come alive in you. And that's okay. Don't fall into this sunk cost fallacy where just because you've worked so hard on it for the last few years or months that you have to keep going. That's a bit like staying in a relationship, even though you know they're not meant for you. Just because you've spent a number of months or years dating or even living with the person. If it's over, it's over. And you owe it to yourself and to them to move on, to create space for the right relationship. Your business is no different. The work that wants to come alive in you is no different. How can you expect to do work that lights you up every single day for the rest of your life if you persist in doing something that you know deep down you don't want to do? Now, in saying this, I do want to acknowledge there is something to be said for being willing to feel the discomfort of learning how to do something that is new, even when you know you want to do it. For example, I remember when I was like ready to transition from career coaching into business coaching. And I was really scared. I had a lot of stories about that. But that goes back to number three, which was emotional and mindset, right? That was the belief, the identity, the self concept, everything that I discussed earlier on. So once I'd cleaned that up and I realized that actually I can overcome the stories that I'm telling myself, what that cleared the way for was the opportunity for me to share the message that I really wanted to say. So notice if there is fear, ask yourself, is it fear because this just isn't aligned to me? This isn't congruent. This isn't really who I want to be or what I want to do. Or is it just a story that we need to tidy up and clean up in a single session? Because this is the thing. You could risk spending 6 months, even weeks is too long. If there is something that you know that you're doing in your business that doesn't feel in alignment to you, you have to give yourself permission to let it go. If you know that there's something that you really want to be doing in your business, but you can't seem to get yourself to do it, but you know it's in alignment to you, then this is where a coach can work with you and work through it in a matter of 60 minutes in a coaching session, instead of wasting weeks or months trying to do it alone. Or what I often see is getting help in group containers where it's just, they're not designed to give you that level of deep mindset work. So gift yourself the spaciousness and the support to be able to work through these things. And sometimes having the coaching just to figure out which it is, both are okay. So that's everything to do with you. So drop me a DM if this is landing, because if you are still not signing clients and everything that I have said to a greater or lesser degree is landing for you, this is not a strategy problem. This is about you being in your power, and we need to get you your power back. Now, if you're in your power, and by and large, most of these things are like 80 to 90% there, and you're like, no, I'm good. I'm healthy. I'm rested. Circumstantially, life is steady for now, because obviously life loves to throw us curveballs. Life will continue to be life. And my confidence levels are good right now. I feel like I'm in my personal power. I know that I'm doing what I want to be doing. I've definitely got an offer that feels aligned. I know that I want to be working my business in the way that I'm doing it. So maybe you're like, yeah, I've decided to do TikTok and that feels really good to me. Or you've decided to do a podcast and that feels really good to you. You can trust those things. And you're still not signing clients though. So now we can move on to the business stuff. So let's do that, shall we? Now, the business stuff is 5 layers. Now, I'm conscious of time. And see, this is where I say, this isn't that I'm ever holding anything back in a podcast. It's that I want to respect your time because you don't have all the time in the world. And also, if I could, I just do it with you, help you with this. Take what you can from this podcast, go and implement it, make the changes. And when you're ready to take this to the next level, when you're ready to really partner together on this, come to me, let's have a chat, book that consult, because this is where with one-to-one, we can have this dialogue. You can be feeding back to me, yet this is where it is, this is where it isn't, and we can actually get into the weeds of it and go in and make the changes that we need to make, identify what needs to be identified so that we can get you creating clients. So the business piece is part 2 now. And if you need to take a break, that is absolutely fine. If you're ready to continue, let's continue. And remember, DM me saying power if you want the PDF where I break this down in writing so that you've got it as a reference point. So 5 steps in the business piece. Step 1 is your business fundamentals. Do you have an offer? Have you chosen a price? Do you know who you're speaking to? And this is not about niche, but do you know who you're speaking to? If any of those things are missing, how can you expect anyone to pay you? There isn't an offer, there isn't anything to buy. You don't know what the price is. Like, how often do you go to the shops and you see a handbag that you really like? Um, and there's three price tags on it because whoever priced it obviously got a bit trigger happy with their gun. And you'll think, well, which is it? Because if it's £10, that's probably cheap. If it's 100, okay, fine. If it's 1,000, I need to think about this. It actually affects the client's ability to make a decision to work with you. So you need to know your price. Do not wait for a client to be sat in front of you to make that decision. So if pricing is a big drama for you, then we need to talk. And you need to have decisions about where you're marketing. If you're stressing that you're still not signing clients, but you're not really committing to a platform, or you're not really committing to a way of signing clients, how can you expect people to find you? Like this honestly, I wish someone laid it out to me like this at the beginning, because the truth is I was in so many different places. And even though I'm in a lot of places now, I know my ecosystem of marketing has grown. It is very intentional. I kind of had to strip it all back. I then chose Instagram and my emails. And then in time, it developed. And I'm in year 4 of my business, and I've only just reintroduced having a Facebook group at the end of last year. I intentionally did not want to be adding too much. And especially on platforms like Instagram, where there are so many sub functionalities within the platform, like that's like 5 different platforms all in one anyway. So choose where you're going to show up and commit to it. If you don't have these business fundamentals in place, then give me a shout. I can help you with that. Number 2 is, are you even serving your existing clients? I see this lots with new coaches. It's possible that you have clients and maybe they're free. Maybe it's like one paid client, and you're in the energy of lack and scarcity. You don't think you've got enough clients. So you're not serving the clients from abundance. Because how can you serve somebody from abundance if you're sat there thinking, I wish there were more of you? I wish that there were like 10 of you here instead of just you in my coaching container. You have to choose to find the gratitude and the abundance with the clients that you have. And be honest with yourself. Are you deeply serving them? Are you giving yourself permission to really reflect and evaluate where it's gone really, really, really well with your existing clients, free or paid? What really worked about the container? What was it about the client that had them get such amazing results? What was it about you that was getting them the results? And how can you replicate that? How can you do more of that? And then reflecting, where could I have done better? Where is it that they didn't get results and they were hoping for results? Where is there a gap for me to plug in? Where was I keeping my end of the bargain? So serving your existing clients is everything, and also acknowledging that the clients that you have are an abundant amount, whatever you have, and acknowledging that the amount of clients you have created, which also means the amount of clients you don't have, you have also created. This is about being in your personal power again. This all comes back to personal power, really. But serving your existing clients means being in your personal power and really, really looking after them. Then, number 3 is, if you're still not signing clients and you've got your business fundamentals in place, you are serving your existing clients to the best of your ability, and you are being the best coach for yourself and your clients. Are you actually in dialogue and having relationships with people who might be interested in coming to your world? If you're not actually speaking to people, if you're not feeling like there is a buzz around you, if you feel like there's just nothing going on, or there's people coming, but because you're judging it for not being enough, or it's not happening the way you expected it to look, you're making it mean that it isn't working. When in actuality, there are people that you could be serving that just aren't working with you yet. So, are you catching up with people? Are you showing genuine interest, care, and love, and compassionate curiosity for where they're at in their journeys? Are you asking open questions? Are you getting to know people? Are you opening yourself to being somebody that people can reach out to? Like, notice how many times I've invited you to message me in the DMs in this podcast alone, because I'm genuinely interested in this, even though it's a podcast and I can't be in conversation. In my heart, I am in conversation. In my energy, we are in conversation. I am talking with you. I'm inviting you to share your perspective, to share what landed for you. I love to hear it. And I love to support you. I love to encourage you. And then if it feels aligned to you and you want to take it further, that's amazing too. But notice how there's no expectation and there's no attachment because I'm loving this part of the process so much. I don't need any more. My cup is already full. That is how you need to be approaching the relationships that you have with people. And if you feel like that you don't have any kind of relationship with your people, with your audience, then this is why you're still not signing clients. Number four is then actually like making yourself available so people can even have a relationship with you. Are you basically, for want of a better word, marketing and selling? If those words give you like the feels and it adds a whole ton of pressure and you feel like, oh God, here we go. I have to figure out how to market and sell. And that's the thing that's really stressing me out. And I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to say. Then don't think of it as marketing and selling. Think of it as you being in your power, sharing what wants to come alive in you, sharing the magic, the wisdom, the experience that you know would be a beautiful gift to people who want to receive it. Like, why wouldn't you speak about the things that you love, that you care about, that you're curious about, that you're excited by? When you have that in place and everything else that I described in the first section, then this bit gets to feel very abundant and very natural. And if you want to explore that more, I have a free masterclass, which I've also put on the podcast just a couple of podcasts ago called the Abundance Marketing Method. I literally break down exactly how to market and sell from a place of abundance where it feels like a gift because it just wants to come alive in you, just like these podcasts do for me. And it would be remiss of me to say, if you actually want to like learn the process and have support implementing the abundance marketing method, then at the time of this recording, it being March 2024, messaging mastery is open. You can join me right this second. Literally, if you found the link and it's on my website, www.coachingwithpamella.com, you could join and you get an instant email with the link to join us, with access to the trainings that are already available, and to join the Voxer straight away, which means within the hour you could be sending me a Voxer and actually saying to me, this is exactly what I'm struggling with in my messaging. And this is exactly what I want to be looking at. Can you help me with this? And I will give you feedback on your posts. I will answer your questions. I will support you, encourage you. We can be in like real deep dialogue then. And you can see how everyone else in the group is doing it. It's such a beautiful container. So definitely join us there if that feels like something that you want to work on and you're excited to work on it. And it is just a matter of giving yourself both the mindset and the strategy, the like the tools and the how and the who to be as you practice sharing the message that wants to come alive in you in a way that makes marketing and selling just a natural byproduct of doing this. So that's number four. Are you actually marketing? Are you actually selling? Are you like, and if you're like, okay, how do I know if I'm selling? You know, if you're selling, if you are literally telling people, this is how you can work with me. this is my one-to-one coaching offer. This is literally what it looks like. This is what we do. This is like being able to communicate your process, being able to communicate the results that you create, being able to describe exactly where your client is and where they want to go. When you can do these things with your eyes closed, like the back of your hand, again, that's what makes it so easy, because you're not trying to convince, you're not trying to figure it out. Like, it's just a matter of sharing it and being in your power when you do so. So if you know that you don't have that clarity, which goes back to those business fundamentals that I said at the very, very first one, number one, right, was business fundamentals: know your offer, know your price, know who you're talking to. Then in messaging mastery, it's being able to communicate that. And if you're not communicating it, then how can you expect to create clients, right? So maybe it's just a couple of tweaks in your messaging that we need to look at. And then the last thing, it might be that you simply don't have enough people in front of you to create the result of clients. Now, technically, you only need one person in front of you to create a client, but that potentially can add a bit of pressure that that one client has, or that one audience member has to become the client. So instead of putting all that pressure on that one person and thereby really creating pressure on yourself, you want to be in front of more people. This is about visibility. This is about actually asking yourself, okay, so I've got the fundamentals, I'm serving my clients really powerfully, I'm marketing and selling, I'm in relationship, I'm in dialogue with people. That all makes sense. And maybe there's more people that I need to reach. Like, even though my audience is a very modest size right now, and it really, whenever I think about you being in the room with me, just me and you, oh my gosh, imagine we'd have a coffee or a mocktail and a cinnamon bun. If you're into cinnamon buns, I am. So if you are, that would be amazing. And we could chat for hours about your business, about what comes alive in you, about what you want to be doing, what your vision is, where you want to go. When I think about like everyone that listens to my podcast and all of you together with me in my office right now, oh my God, my heart wants to explode. And if I imagined you guys in a stadium, the stadium might feel a bit empty. And so it's holding a duality here. We want to hold this essence of abundance, this essence of connection with who we do have in our audience, and know that whatever your numbers are, even if you perceive them as small, just remember, imagine that number in your office with you right now, or in your room, or in your front room, or wherever you are. And imagine how amazing that would feel to be in a great conversation with all of the people that are in your sphere. And they're in your sphere because they are interested in what you have to say. So you'd be having a great conversation. So you hold that duality alongside the duality of, and now let's just put this room into a large stadium and realize how many more seats there are to fill, how many more people we could be impacting with this work. And so we always hold both, and we always want to ask ourselves, how can we reach more people? And so maybe that's why you're not signing enough clients, or still not signing clients, because maybe you are not making the effort to go out there and reach more people. Maybe you're not owning or remembering that there are so many people that will benefit from what you have to say and from the coaching that you have to give. Because if you went through it, I can guarantee there is easy, like even 1%, even 0.1% is a hell of a lot of people, enough to fill a coaching practice over and over and over again for a lifetime. So use this scale, the two-part scale. The first part of the scale to check yourself, to be onto yourself, to make sure that your needs and your personal power is being met. And I'll recap what that is. It's your physiological needs, your circumstantial situation, your energetic, and your purpose. And then on the business side, it's, do you have your business fundamentals in place? Are you even serving your existing clients fully? Are you like nourishing the relationships that you do have with the audience that is already in front of you? Number four is, are you marketing and selling? And number five, are you working on making sure that you're always meeting new people and bringing new people into your world? And if any of this is quote unquote missing, or you don't know how to do it, or you know that you just want to partner with someone and have a partner to help you bring this alive. So maybe you're doing all of it, but not to the level that you know you could be, then Thrive One to One is going to be perfect for you, because it's one to one, because it is a holistic business program that supports you in not only becoming the CEO of your life and business, so everything that we covered in section one, but also the strategy and tactics, which we covered in section two. And I'll recap just because I mentioned it earlier. If you know specifically that by and large, lots of this is in place, but for you, it really is about getting your message out there, knowing what to say, never running out of things to say, actually getting comfortable with selling, knowing how to sell, knowing how to even identify who you specifically want to speak to. So we're kind of, as a byproduct, doing lots of business fundamentals inside messaging mastery, but you love the idea and the philosophy of being in your power when you are marketing and selling, quote unquote, and you want to be able to market the way I do. You know that you connect to my podcast, you continue to listen because you see the passion that comes through me. And the reason that you connect with that is because you have it too. You cannot see anything that you do not have within, which means it needs to be harnessed. And together we can harness it. So if you want to join Messaging Mastery, then I'll make sure I put the link in the show notes and you can join us. And as I said earlier, within the hour of joining, you could be in dialogue with me, obviously subject to time zones, but I have clients all over the world inside that course, literally Australia, America, and the UK and Europe, which is delightful. Actually, not the UK, Europe in a number of different locations. Actually, yes, UK, Ireland, America, and Australia. So whatever time zone you're in, we can be in dialogue within 24 hours, but you'd have access, obviously, within minutes. So come and join us inside Messaging Mastery. And otherwise, you can book your consult for one-to-one inside Thrive. And I want to offer, even if you're not 100% sure if it is one-to-one that you need, or even Messaging Mastery that you need, don't be afraid to reach out. The consults are such a beautiful discussion where we connect, and I support you in figuring out what you actually do need in your business. You will describe to me where you're at, where you want to go. And based on that, I am very good at seeing where the gaps are and helping you identify exactly what we would be prioritizing if we were to work together. And if that feels aligned, then you can make a decision. But feel free to come and have that discussion if you know that you've been loving these episodes and you love the philosophy of what I'm talking about and you know that you want to be implementing that in your business. Why wait? You can have this right now. So go ahead and book your consult. Otherwise, this was a jam-packed episode. As always, it has been a pleasure and a joy, as always, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next episode.